Well, this took longer than expected. Here we are, back in the shop again. I'm happy to be here, but I have no idea what I'm getting myself into with this project. Since the cabinet project turned out so good in the bourbon room, we decided we needed to have a bar and a cabinet downstairs in our basement. So here we are, breaking down plywood again, getting ready to start another build. This is just mid-grade 3/4 inch plywood. Since it's going to be painted, I didn't really mind not having perfect faces, but it'll work perfectly for this project. Here I'm just using the track saw to break down the plywood into more manageable pieces. Always remember to turn on your dust collection. After the ply was broken down with the track saw, I could take it over to the table saw and rip it to final dimension. If you notice, I have some help with me in the shop. This is my friend Justin. He was talking to me about buying some cabinets for his basement, and I tried to talk him out of it and tell him how easy it is to just make cabinets yourself. And at the end of the day, you're really only making boxes. So I invited him over to see how easy it was to do it yourself, and at the same time get a little bit of free labor. Now I'm just cutting the side panels to width. With all the pieces cut, it was time to break out the nail gun and glue and start assembling the base. I like to build my base and toe kicks separate from the cabinets. I like to put these down and get these perfectly level, and then since I've built all the cabinet frames square, it's much easier to have a level square project at the end. Justin's no stranger to the nail gun. He actually helped me frame out my basement and taught me a lot of the framing tricks and working with power tools that got me started into woodworking. So it was kind of ironic that I have him over showing him how to use a nail gun to build this base. Here I'm just flipping the base around, gluing the sides and gluing all the center pieces 16 inches on center. After assembling the first base, I handed the nail gun off to Justin so he could build the second one and get an idea of how easy it is to put these together. After a little difficulty with the safety switch, he got it figured out, and we were off and running. Justin had good attention to detail here. I'll never admit this to him, but I think his base turned out better than mine. With the bases done, we can get the carcasses built for the cabinets. Cutting everything beforehand, getting everything square in the right dimensions makes assembly a lot easier in this part. I wish Justin would have stayed around for this part. It would have been nice to have another set of hands, but my head will do fine for now. Here I'm just getting the sides glued to the base, and then I'm gluing the stringers in place that I'm going to screw to the wall and to the countertop later. I know this is probably going to sound oversimplified, but building cabinets is really just making boxes. If you got 4 sides and everything's square, you've done a good job. And I know master cabinet makers are probably in a different world than these boxes I'm building for my basement, but at the end of the day, it's just a box. Wrapping up this first carcass here. Now all I have to do is repeat this a few times and I'll have all the cabinets I need for the install. For the 2 center cabinets, I decided to put a shelf in. For this, I cut a couple boards that were 12 inches long, and I used them as spacers so I could have equal spacing from the bottom on both cabinets. I marked the outside so I knew right where the board was for me to screw into. And even with the lines, somehow I still managed to miss. Here's a new technique I decided to try out on this project. After my last project using wood putty to smooth the edges of the plywood, I bought some iron-on edge banding and an iron. I have to say, once you get the hang of it, this is a stupid simple way to clean up the edges of your plywood and make it paint ready. I think I'll be doing this a lot more going forward. After the adhesive had cooled down, I went back with this trimming tool and cleaned up the edges of the edge banding. It left a few sharp edges, so be careful when you're doing this yourself. Here I am just putting the edge banding on all the doors. This was a tedious process, but the end result really paid off. With all the edges banded, trimmed, and sanded to remove the rough, sharp corners, it was time to get some primer on this project. I was a little lazy on the base. I only primed and painted the areas of the base that was going to be visible. Now it's time to get the first coat of paint on the carcasses. After the first coat had dried, I took some 220 grit sandpaper and sanded the entire project, getting rid of all the nibs, leaving a smooth finish ready for the second coat. With the paint dried, it was time to start getting some hardware on these cabinet doors and get them ready for install. Here I'm using the Miles Craft Eurojig Pro. This thing's really convenient when you're trying to install some Euro style hinges. With all that done, now it's time to start moving everything to the basement, getting it in place. Here I'm just joining the two bases together, getting ready to install them and mount them to the wall. Luckily for me, my floor is pretty level, so I didn't have to shim any of this to get it level. I could just go ahead and screw directly into the studs in the wall. After the base was secured, I put all the cabinet carcasses in place, screwed them together, and got ready to mount them to the wall. Here I am using my magnetic stud finder to find drywall screws behind the paint so I know where the studs are so I can secure this cabinet to the wall. Some studs were easier to find than others. Here's the best tip I can give you guys that are using Euro style hinges. Make a storyboard. This board is the same height as what my cabinet doors are going to be, and the holes I mounted in the exact same place that I mounted on all the doors. So I could just take this board, put parts of the hinges on them and screw them into place. And then I could remove those parts from the board and I could just snap my cabinet doors in when ready. After the first set of hinges are mounted, I can attach new pieces to the storyboard and continue the process down the cabinets. This saves so much time and headache when trying to install these hinges. I'm glad I found this technique. With the receiving hardware already mounted, all I had to do was take my cabinet doors and snap them into place. It's foolproof. For the cabinet handles, I made this little template. This allows me to space out the holes exactly the same on each door for the handles to go on. Now, all that's left to do is screw on the handles and put the countertop on. This project's a wrap. This project ended up snowballing. Instead of just building these cabinets, I ended up taking the time to build a whole bar. That turned this weekend project into a few-week project. But I think this is the best work I've ever done, and I'm really proud of the end result. And I want to thank you guys for watching.